Social impacts part 1. Today we are discussing the part that we had discussed yesterday, that is the part 1, part 1 actually, and this is the part 2 of the social impacts part 1. All right, so today I'm discussing what is a software license and what are its benefits, as well as the free and open source software, how it is being used, all these things. All right. So a software license is a document that provides legally binding guidelines, okay, to the person who holds it for the use and distribution of software. So the thing is that the distribution of software is not free actually, unless it is being prescribed under the software license. Okay, so there is a software licensing committee, those who are actually see its different part and why it is being used, what is its purpose, and to whom to be distributed, and lot of other legal sides. All right, that is the thing. So that's why is a software license is a document that provides legally binding guidelines. All right, binding guidelines. Like when you are purchasing a laptop, you will see at the bottom portion of the laptop, if you just turn it down, then you will see that there is a barcode has been given. In that barcode, actually that is actually your software license, whether you have purchased the genuine Windows or the genuine Microsoft Office, everything will be there. So anyone who scans that barcode, or the authority who is scanning the barcode, they will be able to come to know that whether it is a pirated version or your machine is having a genuine software. Fine, because you know that the piracy of software is a crime. Yes. Now it typically provide end users. End users means those who are using it. Okay. Developers are the one, they are at the topmost level. Okay. So the end users means those who are using it. Okay. With the right to make one or more copies of the software without violating copyrights. Okay. So copies can be made. It is not like that the copies cannot be made, but the violating act, it should not be violating the acts and all, copyright act, I mean. All right. So that's what. So that's why whenever it will be a whenever it will be a software which is having the IPR, which where the IPR is applicable, definitely the copyright will be taken. Okay, and several copies will be made, but each copy will have the genuine unique code. All right, so it cannot be used in another machine. Suppose you are purchasing Windows today, or Windows 2000 server version or something like that, so it can be used only in your system, not in other system. Okay, that's having the uniqueness of that particular key. Okay, so whenever you are installing the software, that license key is very, very important. Without that license key, you will not be able to install that particular software. That is the utility of the software licensing. It also defines the responsibilities of the parties entering into the license agreement and may impose restrictions on how the software to be used or can be used. All right. Software licensing terms, the conditions usually include fair use of the software, the limitations of liability, warranties, and disclaimers and protections. Okay, so that's why at the beginning, every software has got its disclaimers. All right. Okay. So and the limitations of liability. Okay, limitations of liability in the case means the maintenance of the software that is to be done by the particular person. So suppose you have purchased the software. Nowadays the softwares all are given in the cloud. You will be given only the link, with the link of that particular software. You can be download that one and you can install it with the help of the unique key. So that's what you need to do. Okay, previously the softwares used to come by storing into the CD-ROMs and all. Okay, but nowadays the practice has almost gone. Okay, so most of the CDs are, most of the operating system softwares are given in the cloud storage, which is a non-physical storage. Okay, what are the benefits? Using unlicensed software is against the law. First of all, you can be booked under law if you are using a counterfeited software. All right, and the right software license can save our money also. We can receive around the clock license support. So from wherever you are purchasing that one, if you want some get, you can talk to the customer care, or you can mail to the customer care. You will get around the clock license support. Okay, because but at that point of time you must provide the license key number or the product key number. Okay, license key sometimes also known as the product key. All right, that is the thing. So that is what the software licensing is so important. Okay, and it is an important aspect when you are using it in your system. Okay, whether it is distributable or not distributable, that everything will be given in the disclaimer portion. So you need to read the end users license agreement that is there. Okay, in short form it is called EULA. Okay, okay. So these are the things that you need to see whenever you are purchasing a software and whenever you are installing a software. Okay, that is the thing. So now the software copyright is used by the software developers or the software companies. Proprietary software companies like Microsoft Windows, they are having their proprietary product which is known as Microsoft Windows. All right, Microsoft Office is also there to prevent the unauthorized copying of their softwares. They are taking actually the copyrights. Okay, and free and open source licenses also rely on copyright law to enforce their terms. That is why they are taking the copyright. Now we can summarize the reasons for copyright. Our software is that our work is an asset. Okay, suppose some software company is developing a particular product, so behind that they are having some reason. Okay, first reason is that they want to supply a very good type of software. People will purchase it and they can grow business. Okay, so actually that is their asset. Asset means that from where the earning could be done. All right, so and that protect our rights also. Protect our rights means, in the sense means, whatever the rights to be given to a particular user or a customer, that also to be protected. Okay, whether the customer can distribute it or cannot distribute it, that's a different issue. If it is covered under the protect our rights, then it will be good for the software company. It protects our software structures. Okay, no one can modify it. So whatever architecture has been defined under the software, that can be protected. All right, it protects software code sequencing and organization also. It enhances protection against license agreement. So whatever be the license agreement, it must abide by those agreements clauses, and it will also protect the software code so no one can steal it. Okay, and make their and make the same software under the different name. So these are the reason that the proprietary companies or the software companies, they are taking the copyrights. Okay, so anything found which is not suitable under law will be punishable. Okay, so that is what the software copyright actually. So there is a bit difference between the software copyright and software licensing. Here we are coming over here. Copyright is a type of intellectual property protection and licensing is a kind of risk control measure. So these two terms are not synonymous or same. These two terms are little different. Okay, so it is actually the one is the copyright is the property protection and licensing is the risk control measure. So the abuse of the software should not happen. That is the thing. So that can be applied to control copyright loss exposure. So the licensor can grant permission that usually takes the form of a licensing agreement to use its copyrighted material. So first, what actually you have done, you have developed a software. First of all, what you need to do, you have to see that no one can copy that. Okay, so no one can copy that. Okay, or no one can distribute it. Okay, under without your permission. That is actually the copyright. Now next thing is that licensing, it is a risk control measure. Why so? Because the risk control measure is such a kind of thing that, okay, so if someone wants to modify the code or someone wants to change its architecture or the type of execution, all these things are being covered under the licensing. All right, so the copyright and licensing are a bit different. Okay, so this agreement specifies the exact material to be used, purposes of the work could be used for, and the duration of the license. Like for example, Microsoft Office, if you're taking the Microsoft Office as an example, in that case you will see that Microsoft Office is exclusively used for the office. It cannot be used for any other purposes anywhere. All right, that is the thing. So the Microsoft Office, under the Microsoft Office, several other softwares are being covered, like it is having a word processor, MS Word, a spreadsheet, MS Excel, a PowerPoint, a presentation called PowerPoint. Okay, a database software called MS Access. Okay, all these things are there. Okay, so these are normally the software suite, that is a software suite, and its associated softwares can be used in an office operation. All right, that is the thing. So in this way, the software licensing and software copyright. If some company is taking, so that is actually to safeguard their software from any unauthorized access. All right, that is what that is the difference between the licensing and copyright and the utility. Now the free and open source software, in the short form it is FOSS. FOSS is a kind of software, okay, actually a group of software, that all allow users to not only freely learn the program for any purpose, but also provide users access to its source code. Okay, that is the thing. So here is the difference between the free software and open source software. Open source software means like its code is also available, so you can modify the code as per your specification. Okay, like Linux is a free open source software, fine. And free software, for that the codes will not be revealed, you can use it, you can distribute it, and you can make any number of copies, no restriction is there. That is actually the free software. But free and open source software is a bit different. Okay, it is actually the software, it is actually the kind of software where the source code is also have been revealed. Okay, moreover it also allows us to modify as we wish, as well as freely distribute the copies of the original version of their altered or their altered version. So all the things are being covered onto it. So that is actually known as a free and open source software. Very common question come, what is the full form of FOSS? That also comes sometimes. And what is the difference between a free software and free open source software? Okay, free and open source software, there is a bit difference what I had discussed right now. So for the free software, only the software installation files are available, you can install it and you can use it, redistribute it, make its copy, but its source code is not available. But for free and open source software, everything can be done like as you are doing in free software. But for the free and open source software, one extra thing, that is its source codes are available. If user wants, he or she can alter it and distribute it also. Okay, for any number of copies of the original version. Okay, so these are the criteria for the FOSS. Source code must be included. Okay, anyone must be allowed to modify the source code. That was clearly been said, that anyone must be allowed to modify the source code which is not available in the free software. Fine. Modified versions can be redistributed. The modified version, someone is changing, making some changes in the concerned software, they can redistribute it. The license must not require the exclusion of other. Okay, the license must not require the exclusion of other. If someone else is using it, for them the license is not required, it must be free of cost. Okay, so no need to purchase the things and all, as you are doing in case of copyrighted software. Fine. So that is the criteria for the FOSS actually. Okay, so in that case we can say the software is covered under the FOSS category. All right, that is the thing. So the full form of FOSS is free and open source software. Okay, so here an example of open source softwares have been given. So examples are very important, you must note down and learn. Okay, so as an operating system, you can say the Linux operating system is there. Ubuntu is actually not a full-fledged operating system software, it is actually an interface. Okay, where we can use several other operating systems, or we can divide it into different portions. The window can be divided into different portions and can be used. All right, DBMS means like database management system. We're having the MySQL, MongoDB is there. Okay, it is actually part of Python, and SQLite is also there. Programming language, we are using Python, okay. Java is there, PHP is there. As internet browser, web server, we are having the Chromium, Firefox, Apache, HTTP server, Apache Tomcat, all these things are there. So these are the examples of different softwares, the different free and open source software. Fine. So you can see, you may note down. All right. This softwares for their distribution, no license you need to have. You may make any copy, or you can modify. If you know how to modify, you can modify your source code, because the source codes are attached with it. All right. Okay, now we are coming to the types of software based on use. Like talking about the free software few minutes back. Okay, free softwares are those which are freely accessible. Okay, freely used, changed, improved, copied, and distributed. All right, it provides all types of freedom. The term free means freedom at very little or no cost. Okay, sometimes some software or organizations are asking some donation in the form of donation, which is not the cost of the software. That is also depends upon the willingness of the user, okay, whether he or she wants to donate some money against it or not. Okay, the source code is also available with free software. Okay, but that is not true for all cases. Very little cases, otherwise it will come under the free and open source software. Okay, clear? So open source software can be freely used, changed, improved, copied, and redistributed, but it may have some cost for the media and support for further development. Source code is also available with OSS. It can be modified and redistributed with some guidelines. All right. The license may restrict source code from being distributed and modification to maintain the author's integrity. You see one thing, another difference you find out over here, that is the free software, no licensing terms are there. Okay, but for open source software, there is some license to be taken also. All right, the license may restrict source code from being distributed and modification to maintain the author's integrity. Of course, it can be distributed, but there is some licensing restrictions are also there. A software which is free as well as open, called free and open source software, or free libre and open source software. Even sometimes it is called FLOSS also, FLOSS. That is the thing. Okay, this is what actually we are talking about, the free software and open source software. All right. Now you see the types of software based on use. Proprietary software. What are these actually? These softwares are some covered under the IPR. Actually, it's a property of certain companies or some organization. Okay, the master of some cost and source code is also not given since it is a property of the developer organization. No change, copy, and distribution are allowed. So means like you cannot modify, you cannot copy it, or you cannot distribute it. Okay, if someone wants to purchase and someone wants to keep it or take it or install it, they have to purchase simply. Okay, freeware is available free of cost. They can be used, copied, distributed, but no modification is allowed because the source code is not available. All right, that is the thing. So that's why it has been said in the last one we had seen that last one in the see that the source code is also available with free software. Okay, so that is the free software is different and freeware is different. Okay, with the free software the source code is available not in all cases but in some cases. All right, that is the thing. But the freeware, it does not have any kind of source code available with it, so there is no question of modification and alteration of the original software. All right, and the shareware are the one, the softwares are freely used and copied and distributed for a certain period of time. All right, after expiry you have to purchase or uninstall them. Okay, so if you are not purchasing, you have to uninstall, otherwise you will not be able to use its features. Only you have to open it and they will ask for the registration, and the registration fees will be charged. Only after that you will be able to use all its features, but till that time you cannot. So if you are not willing to purchase it after using, okay, then you may uninstall that particular software. Modification, simply modification is not possible due to non-availability of the source code. All right, these are the demo version and means like demonstration version. If after seeing its feature, if user wants to purchase it, so they can do that. So that is what the shareware actually meant for, and free distributed for trial purpose. So whenever you are installing, there will be a trial period that may be 15 days, starting from 15 days to 30 days. In fact, in some cases it may extend to 45 days also. Okay, but after that you have to purchase it. So that's what the actually the shareware says. Okay, so here we are actually ending the social impacts part 1. There is part 2 also. So here we had discussed, we have seen that mainly we had discussed what? Mainly we had discussed here IPR, we had discussed, that is the intellectual property rights. We had seen the software licensing, we have seen that copywriting, patenting the software and all, and what are the what are the norms of it and what is it actually. Okay, as the different type of software which are on use right now when you are using the computers and all. You are using Windows, which is a proprietary software. Some are using the Linux, which is actually the open source software. Okay, some are using the freeware software, and some shareware also we are using, but shareware we cannot use for long unless the trial period has been expired. Okay, so that's all today from me, and you just go through this and read it very nicely and conceptually. Okay, don't try to learn it by heart. Try to understand its functionality and try to understand its concept. All right, children, thank you.